Well, hello everyone, and thank you very much for joining us today for our next session in our series of webinars focusing on exotic journeys, as well as our great destinations and great partners that we deal with. And of course, we're celebrating here at Exotic our 45th anniversary. So thank you very much for taking some time and joining us today. So with that, I'm going to introduce our product manager for our Central and South America programs. We have Ava with us. Ava, hello, thank you.
Hello.
I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Bruce. Welcome, everybody. We're very pleased that you're able to join us to present Costa Rica today. With us from Exotic Journeys, we have Kristen Gariepi, our director. And let me introduce you to our guest star speaker, Mr. Rolando Campos, a director at Swiss Travel, our partner in Costa Rica. Rolando, the floor is yours. You can start your presentation.
All right, thank you very much. And I hope everybody is having a wonderful day today. So I think I have 25 minutes to go. So let's get started here. Well, I'm based in Costa Rica. We're very happy to be the ground operator for Exotic Journeys now for many years. And we have seen how the business has grown over the years, and Costa Rica has become a very important destination. When we talk about Costa Rica, we're basically talking about nature. I always like to start saying that we're not a tourist destination. We're just a country that happens to be beautiful, that have done some right things, and down the road, we just receive people from all over the world. So what's the secret of Costa Rica? First, our biodiversity. We preserve about 5% of the world's biodiversity in about 25% of the country protected national park and areas. Our country is small, it's only 51,000 square kilometers, and we're about 5 million people in Costa Rica. Some of the most important facts about our society include the fact that we do not have an army since 1948. And this definitely helped us to create a different type of society. You find a more equal kind of development throughout the country where people have more opportunities in their way up in their lives. So when we're talking about our history, we go back to the times when Christopher Columbus arrived first in 1502, and then everything started from there. And that's how we have to understand Costa Rica. When the Spaniards came, they didn't find like large populations of Indians here. So we were kind of left behind. And the good thing about that was that the Spaniards had to get involved in building the country. Not like in other regions of Latin America where they have the slaves, let's say. So here, since then we found a country where everybody somehow have to work together in order to survive. So we are a democracy. We go on elections every 4 years, and I think we have a good standard of living on that. So now let's go to what we're here for. So as I was mentioning before, our natural diversity is really our true attraction. We preserve about 12 different zones of life. And what that means is that each zone of life is a different type of weather. So in very small areas, you will go from the rainforest to the cloud forest to the volcanoes to beaches. And when you have all these combined, let's say in a 7-night package, is when we come with a very beautiful word, which is value. So we will bring value to your client's experience in Costa Rica, as they, in very short periods of time, will be able to travel throughout the country. So let's start our journey in the Central Valley. That's what we call San Jose, which is our capital city. We have most of the, let's say, the country's development in this part of the country, where we have the capital, of course, all the public buildings and services. Most of the people live in this region. About more than half of the population live in what we call the greater Central Valley. And usually tourists do not stay here very long. Depending on their time of arrival, they would stay one night and go the following morning. However, there is a number of attractions that makes more sense to enjoy them from San Jose, like the Poas volcano, some canopy tours, whitewater rafting. Being right in the middle of the country, it's easy to travel to all the other regions. And from there, we go to the Caribbean. So the most important attraction on our Caribbean side is going to be the Tortuguero National Park. So here we have a very beautiful rainforest national park protecting jungle and protecting beach area. Now, during the months of June to September, we have the green turtle coming to lay the eggs here, and it really becomes like the most spectacular activity we have at that time of the year here. However, it's nice to travel all year round too. Now, what is Tortuguero? As I was mentioning before, it's a place where rainforest is protected and it's crossed by different rivers and lagoons. So you will explore the national park by boat. And that's what makes it easy, what makes it really nice, as people are able to get very close to nature, very close to animals on a very easy and comfortable way. For families, I always say it is like the most beautiful trip for small children, because they really get to see a lot of wildlife on a very safe way, which of course parents always appreciate. So some important facts about Tortuguero: we do not have roads here, so people have to either fly or drive to a certain point, and from there on, you will continue by boat. All packages are all-inclusive, so here we'll always include 2 nights, 3 is too long, 1 is too short. All 3 meals are included, and the touring in the national park. So that's like the basic program to Tortuguero. We always recommend to do this at the beginning of their stay in Costa Rica. So usually people will land in San Jose, the next day continue to Tortuguero for 2 nights, and from there go to another part of the country. That includes, for example, the southern part of the Caribbean. So when we're talking about our Caribbean, is very different to the Caribbean islands, like say like Cuba or Dominican Republic or even Mexico. It's because of the weather here, we get a lot of rain. It's all rainforest. It's more exotic. It's very green. You have beautiful isolated beaches with miles of just jungle and rainforest. And people will like it. The main town here is called Puerto Viejo, where you will find a great number of small restaurants, bed and breakfast, boutique hotels. It's very beautiful. It's a place where you combine nature, culture, with vibes going on in the little town. However, we do not sell this part of the country as a beach destination. It will go as exploring destination, right? We will usually leave the Pacific side to be at the end of the trip for a beach stay. From there, usually people will continue to the Arenal volcano. And I have to say, this is the most popular destination within Costa Rica. So here we have an active volcano since 1968, and a great number of activities go around the volcano. So the volcano, it's like the calling point, but once you get there, you see the volcano, and then basically, I mean, you're over in a minute because you just see it and you cannot interact with it or anything. But then there is a number of activities that includes hot spring, horseback riding, zip lining, boating, caves, trekking, hiking, waterfalls, you name it. So there is a lot of activities, and on top of that, we have to remember that we will find a very large selection of properties here. So you go from the very high-end 5-star luxury product to tourist class accommodation and backpackers. So there is a great sense of community, a great number of activities, that it being the hot springs, one of the most attractive ones. So that's Arenal. You can do, if you have a limited time, you can do, let's say, 7 nights, 3 nights Arenal, 4 nights beach, and you're good. In that time frame, you will really discover a lot of Costa Rica has to offer, Remember, we have another airport. We will talk about that later. So it's easy to combine the Arenal volcano. If we're talking about the highlights of Costa Rica, we go back to Tortuguero National Park on the Caribbean. Then you go to the Arenal volcano, and then you go to Monteverde, which is the cloud forest. All the three different regions that we just finished were rainforests. So the rainforest goes on the humid lands from the sea level to about 600 meters above sea level, and then you have transitional forest. Remember I mentioned about the zones of life. So each one of those transitional ecosystem is going to be a zone of life until we reach the cloud forest. So the forest starts at about 1700 meters above sea level, and the main characteristic is that most of the precipitation is going to come of the crash of the clouds against the forest, while in the rainforest is of course from the rain. So that creates like a magical sense in the air. Remember, we're high here, so it's going to be chilling, so people always have to wear, you know, their sweaters or a little bit warmer clothing than of course they will wear down in the lowlands. And that's surprising because people do not expect that, right? They think I'm going to Costa Rica and that's going to be hot and sunny. And no, I mean, depending on where you are in Costa Rica, at night it's going to be cold and you're going to require some heating. So Monteverde, as I mentioned, is the cloud forest, and the attraction of the cloud forest is the forest itself. You will explore the forest in different ways. You will go from canopy tours to hanging bridges. So the difference is how you interact. And remember, you will always be with a professional tour guide guiding you around, right? Because when you enter such a dense jungle, you need some interpretation. And that's what our tour guides are really well known for. For example, if you do the hanging bridges, you will walk over the canopy of the forest. Remember that in such a deep jungle, for the sun rays to get down to the ground is not that easy. So there are a lot of wildlife and other ways of life that will immigrate up to the forest canopy, right? For example, the orchids. We preserve about 1,500 species of orchids, and most of them will live on top of the trees. So you really, when you're above the forest, either in a canopy tour, the zip lining, or the hanging bridges, you will see a very different type of ecosystem. Now we arrive to Guanacaste. Guanacaste, we say, is the sunny side of Costa Rica. This is the only region that is not gonna be a rainforest or a cloud forest, but a dry forest. So the ecosystem here is very similar to an African savanna. During our dry season, which will be your winter season, most of the lowlands in Guanacaste is gonna be brown, right? Very dry. So that's why most of the bigger beach hotels have been built in this part of the country. So besides having very beautiful beaches, you will find great brands. You will find all the all-inclusive properties in this part of the country. That includes Rio, Westin, Secrets, Dreams, JW Marriott, Occidental Hotels. Then you have the luxury brands like W or Four Seasons or Andas. So that's the way that Guanacaste has been developed. Now, important to mention that we preserve the beach like you're seeing it here. For example, this is Conchal Beach. Conchal is home of the Westin Hotel and the W Hotel. Between those two guys, we have close to 600 rooms, golf course, restaurants, bars, discotheque. But when you're on the beach, you don't feel any of that, right? And you don't have another neighboring hotel. Every large hotel is going to be isolated in their own piece of land. Why? Because we do not want to create a strip of hotels one after the other. The idea is to preserve as much as possible our natural environment. So you also have a lot of clients that will only come to this part of the country, right? We have different airlines flying straight into Liberia Airport, which is up here, and then all the beach hotels are gonna be down in this region here. So you can easily do 7-night stays here with one of the beach properties, and from there do the daily touring to the rainforest, to the volcanoes, to the zip lining, whitewater rafting, horseback riding, waterfalls. So all that is available from there. Or you can always do, let's say on a 7-night program, do 3-4 nights at an volcano, and then the remaining of the days down on the beach. If your itinerary it's only of 7 days. We always suggest a minimum of 10 nights in Costa Rica to really get to see the most important attractions. And now we have Manuel Antonio. Manuel Antonio National Park is the best attraction in the mid-Pacific. That's going to be about 2.5 to 3 hours driving from San Jose. So usually you want to fly to San Jose when you are including this part of the country. Remember also, it's possible to fly into one airport and fly out from the other one. So if your client is gonna end on the beach in the northern region of Guanacaste, then you can fly them out from Liberia and fly them into San Jose if you're going to include the Caribbean side, the mid-Pacific or the South Pacific, which is amazing. That place is absolutely beautiful. So what we have in Manuel Antonio is beautiful white sand beaches surrounded by rainforest, protected by a national park with a lot of wildlife. That includes a lot of monkeys, a lot of sloths, and so many other different creatures that we find in the rainforest. And then in terms of accommodation, you will be like in the middle, let's say, of what we had in the southern part of the Caribbean, which was kind of boutique and very homey and more authentic, and what we have in Guanacaste, which is more international, larger resorts, luxury product, and so on. So in Manuel Antonio, we're gonna find hotels 4 and 5 stars, but none of international branding. So still a very local atmosphere, let's say. So important to mention that not one of the hotels is located right on the beach. So everybody's gonna be on top of the hills along the road between the city of Quepos and the National Park of Manuel Antonio. It's a very popular destination, not only because of the park, not only because of the wildlife, but also because of the number of activities that you find here. So again, from here you have zip lining, horseback riding, cooking lessons, local markets, whitewater rafting. So, and of course, all the beach activities, deep sea fishing, sunset cruises, sailing, all these things. So it's like a very nice combination of beach and adventure and rainforest. While Guanacaste, it's going to be more of a beach experience. So that's the middle part of the Pacific. And then last, we have Osa Peninsula. Osa is the southern part of Costa Rica, right down here, and it protects Corcovado National Park. Biologically speaking, Corcovado is the most intense place on Earth. That means that if we take 1 square kilometer, 1 square mile, and we do an inventory of the flora and fauna, of the biodiversity that you can find there, there is no other place in the whole planet with so many species of life. That's the Corcovado National Park, and it is also our biggest park in the country. So usually we will recommend a minimum, an average of 3-night stays here, and it's like Tortuguero. You will go in a package, which includes meals, of course, transportation, because you're touring around the country, so that has to cover, include meals, and includes touring into the national park and other activities around the area. Is the most secluded, I want to say, the most secluded and exclusive part of Costa Rica, And then when it comes to accommodation, you will not find any big or large resort. So here you're gonna find beautiful boutique properties of 10, 15, 17 rooms on a higher layer of luxury, always into the jungle, always in the middle of the rainforest, always very isolated, surrounded by jungle, which gives a very personal experience. And then the wildlife that you see around this part of the country is amazing. It's absolutely amazing. You just go on YouTube and just type there Osa Peninsula, Costa Rica, Corcovado National Park, Costa Rica. You will find an endless number of videos that will give you a very clear idea of how the southern part of Costa Rica looks like. So we, as I mentioned before, for 3 nights stay here. Besides the inland attractions, we have Caño Island, which is a biological station right in front of the mainland, where people go diving, snorkeling, and it's the best spot in mainland Africa for diving, whale watching. We also have in the winter season, in the fall season, near fall, we have the whale season. So you see the whales, we do touring just to go and see them, and it's amazing. All the dolphins and the whales, it's really like the Garden of Eden, we say. So basically that's Costa Rica in 20 minutes. As I mentioned at the beginning, it's a very beautiful country. I think people are very friendly. Visitors feel very welcome. And I like to say that Costa Rica is more of interactive kind of destination. As you travel the world, you will discover different kind of destinations. And I have discovered, let's say, what I call the museum destination, where you go, you enjoy, it's beautiful, but you never get involved there, right? And when you come to Costa Rica, after day 2 or 3, you're part of us. You're part of our Pura Vida. And when you talk to the clients, when they leave the country, they don't want to leave. And they enjoy eating and going out and talking to the locals and getting a taxi and talking to the waiter. And they literally make friends here. We get repeating business for about 3% of the people who come to Costa Rica. Before pandemic, we were getting over 3 million tourists. Now, of course, we have to work to get those numbers back. But the bottom line is that it's a destination for everyone, for all kind of budgets, from the very high-end luxury to backpackers, for the adventure lover, for the people who want a local cultural experience, people who are more into wellness. You know, it's a combination of attractions that it's hard. When the question is, what's your favorite part of Costa Rica? It's impossible. I mean, you go from one place to another, and each region, each area has its own very particular beauty. And really appreciate your time. I hope you found the presentation to be useful, and I really look forward to have a lot of exotic journeys clients. I have to say it's the best tour operator in Canada. I'm sure you know that better than me. And always trust the service that you will get from Exotic Journeys. It's been a very long relationship, and we know all the efforts they make to really bring you back a very happy client.
Well, thank you, Rolando. It's just an amazing presentation. And, you know, I've been lucky to be able to visit Costa Rica a number of times. And I think you did just a wonderful job of explaining the different areas and all the different things there is to see and do. And like you said, just really a nature lover's paradise, but it offers so much for, you know, quite a small country. There is just so much to do that it's just a wonderful destination. So we thank you for the wonderful presentation. Hope everyone found it informative and enjoyable. And please join us for our upcoming sessions right up until March 31st. And again, you can register by going to the Exotic Journeys website. So thank you again, Rolando, Ava, Christine.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
All right.
Have a good day.
You too.